Everyone at school was making fun of the blind girl. They called her a freak. They laughed and mocked her constantly. But there was one thing they didn't take into account. The German Shepherd beside her wasn't just a guide dog. He was a retired war veteran, and when he started growling, those laughs instantly turned into screams. Sophie had lost her sight at the age of 1 due to medical negligence. She had never seen the colors of the world, but she had a wonderful friend who described colors to her. Everyone except the German Shepherd had declared the 9-year old girl invisible. The bell rang at 3:15 p.m. The children poured out like a river bursting its banks. But in Class 4B, Sophie was waiting for her dog, Claude, to arrive. Her teacher, Mrs. Peterson, looked at her as if with hatred. She thought caring for a visually impaired child was an unnecessary responsibility. "Sophie, hasn't that monster arrived yet? I have to go home. I can't wait any longer," she said, but the coldness in her voice broke the child's heart. Sophie replied quietly, "Claude will be here any minute. He is on his way." Just then Claude arrived. He was no ordinary dog. He had a scar on his chest from the war and the discipline of a former K9 unit in his soul. He had been injured by a mine and branded useless. After meeting Sophie, he would break down all prejudices. Claude didn't run. He stood in front of Sophie with heavy steps. He rested his head on the girl's hand. Sophie whispered, "I missed you." The dog couldn't answer, but he touched the girl's cheek with his nose. He felt her wetness. Claude couldn't see colors, but he knew the little girl was crying. Because that day, a tragedy had occurred at lunchtime. Sophie was sitting alone at her table. 3 girls approached her. Their voices were filled with hatred. "Hey Sophie, wanna play hide and seek?" they said. Sophie was happy. She replied to her friends, "I can't hide, I can't see," she said in an innocent tone. One of the girls laughed mockingly. "Then you can be it. You can't see anyway, no need to close your eyes." The laughter echoed cruelly in the cafeteria. The children's mocking words deeply affected Sophie. Sophie put her sandwich down on the table at that moment. She didn't touch it again. After school, the same nightmare returned. 3 boys blocked their path. One of them yelled at them, "Hey dog girl, why is your dog always with you? Don't you have any other friends?" Sophie squeezed Claude's leash. Her heart felt like it would jump out of her chest. That was when Claude stepped in. He didn't growl. He didn't bark. He just stood between the boys and Sophie. He puffed out his chest. He looked at the boys with that deep, threatening gaze he had learned on the battlefields. That look conveyed a single message. "If you touch this girl, you'll have me to deal with." The boys backed away in fear and ran off. But they didn't know that the real storm was about to break. The phone rang. The school principal was calling Sophie's mother. He spoke with feigned concern. "This dog is dangerous to the other children. He attacked students in the schoolyard. We can't allow this. Maybe you should find another school for Sophie. The other families are upset about this." Sophie's mother refused, but the principal was adamant. A meeting would be held. Claude's fate would be decided there. "So do you think a dog can discipline an entire school? What do you think, in the following chapters, what the dog does will make you cry?" No one saw the silent storm that raged inside the house the night before the meeting. Sophie sat on her bed, her knees pulled up to her chest. She could hear her mother's muffled sobs from the next room, which she was trying to suppress. Sarah tried to appear strong, but the possibility of losing her daughter's only support in life, that 4-legged protector, had devastated her. This situation had affected her deeply. Sophie let her trembling hand dangle over the edge of the bed. Instantly, a wet, warm nose touched her palm. Claude was there. He was on duty, as always. But this time the enemy was not at the door, but in Sophie's mind. "Will they separate us, Claude?" Sophie whispered. "If they take you away from me, how will I walk in that darkness again?" Claude jumped onto the bed next to Sophie. This was normally against the rules. But that night, the rules didn't matter. He wrapped his huge body around the little girl. He acted like a living shield. Sophie rested her face against the dog's soft fur. She breathed in that familiar, comforting scent. Claude's slow, rhythmic heartbeat calmed Sophie's panicked heart. That night, in that dark room, a girl and a dog made an unspoken vow. Whatever the decision, they would never leave each other. That week, an extraordinary meeting was held in the school gym. The subject of the meeting was the dangerous dog Claude. But Sophie's mother, Sarah, hadn't come there to defend him. She had come to fight. The principal took the podium. "We are gathered here to discuss the danger posed by a dog." Sarah immediately jumped to her feet. Her voice trembled, but her eyes blazed. "No, today we are not here to talk about a dog, but about how a child has been systematically bullied." Silence fell over the gym because no one wanted Sophie and her dog. One of the students' mothers immediately protested, "But your dog scared our children." Sarah replied, "Claude doesn't hurt anyone. He doesn't scare anyone. He is not an emotional support animal. He is a veteran dog. But your children emotionally abused my daughter every day, and you adults turned a blind eye to it." The silence was so heavy you could hear a pin drop. Just then, a faint voice rose from the back of the hall. "She is not blind." Everyone turned. Jake, the quietest child in the school, was speaking. The principal was surprised. "What are you saying, son?" Jake continued, trembling. "Sophie isn't blind. She just sees differently. I watch her, she reads Braille. She is good at math. She is smarter than me, but no one talks to her. Because we're afraid of what is different. Sophie never judged us, but we excluded her. Everyone makes fun of her white cane." These words hit every adult in the room like a slap in the face. Everyone bowed their heads. All the families were ashamed. A wave of deep shame spread. A mother wiped her tears. And then Sophie stood up with her small body. She stood in front of the huge hall. Only her friend Claude was by her side. "I won't apologize to you. I didn't do anything wrong. Neither did Claude. None of my friends protected me. So my dog protected me. He has more compassion than those people." Claude held his head high. He scanned the room. It was as if he was saying, "I see everyone who hurt this girl." The school principal looked embarrassed by what had been said. The authoritative man was gone, replaced by a man who seemed ashamed. Maybe it is not the dog's presence that needs to change in this school. It should be our hearts. That night, as they left the meeting hall, Sophie no longer walked with her head bowed. Her mother, Sarah, held her daughter's hand tightly, while Claude walked beside them with a straighter posture than ever, like a king. The heavy silence in the corridor gave way to respectful glances. No one said a word, but everyone knew that Trio was leaving the hall victorious. And the following week, some things changed at school. An Empathy Day was declared. The children walked around blindfolded. Sophie guided them. For the first time, they understood her dark but rich world. Sophie was no longer alone in the cafeteria. One of the bullies even came up to her. "Will you teach us to play hide and seek? How can we hear better? Will you teach us about your dark world?" Sophie smiled. "I will, Claude." He was no longer the school's unwanted guest, but its hero. This veteran dog who once served on the battlefield found his second chance by protecting a girl's heart. Because sometimes life gives you a second mission. And this time, your mission isn't to carry a weapon, but to be someone's eyes. If this story touched your heart, share it with your loved ones, because there are still thousands of Sophies in the world, waiting to be seen.